Hello everyone, I am Onebird. Today I've got another money runs video for you. We're going to be looking at the Shoreline Village loot run. I've got the best route for you to follow to loot the entirety of the Shoreline Village area. I'm going to give you all the pictures so you can see what loot you can get if you do the Shoreline Village run. So this is the Shoreline Village. This is the area that we're going to be looking at for this loot run. The key advantage for doing this loot run, especially early wipe, is the number of jackets. You've got 20 jackets just in this loot run alone. Right, let's have a look at the route now. We're going to start off in the east side of the village. We're going to end up near the tunnel extract. If you spawn near the village itself or in the south near the tunnel extract, then you can start from the south of the village and follow this route backwards. So what we're going to do now is look at 10 loot runs that I did following this village loot run route. I'm going to show you pictures of the loot so you can find out what you can get doing this loot run and how much you can earn. And then after we've done that, I'm going to show you the route in real time. So if you want to know the exact route to take, I'm going to be showing you that in the game. I want to talk about the loadout very quickly. Generally, I was using something like a scav backpack, Burka day pack, which is only a 20 size container backpack. So I would say I wasn't working with a hell of a lot of space on these loot runs. So bear that in mind. The loadout you take in and the amount of space really affects, obviously, how much you get out. I mean, kind of obvious when you think about it. But one thing I'll do is I'll calculate the amount of rubles per slot that we get from these loot runs so that you can compare across the various loot runs in the future. Hopefully that made sense. What I will also say is these values that I'm going to give you are all based on sales to traders only. No flea market sales in here whatsoever. So you are guaranteed to get these values no matter what level you are. So let's get to the part that you want to see. Kicking things off, run number 7, the worst loot run of the 10. We got 270,000 rubles, and you aren't seeing a hell of a lot of items here. The hand drill and the emoter took up a fair bit of space, so I think we could have been a bit more efficient there with space. Just one key, the Dorm's 118 key, so not exactly a great amount of keys we got on this run. I mean, what more can I say about this run? It does stand as the worst run, so it's not like I can say anything great about it. Let's move on to the next one, run number 5. This one was 280,000 rubles. We do see the diary in there and the factory key in there. This time, no nuts or bolts, but we did get a lot of other items as well that you might need for the hideout. So this run can be really useful if you're looking for stuff for the hideout. You name it, you can probably find it on this loot run. Okay, on to run number 2. This was the third lowest run. Bit of a jump up this time though, 331,000 rubles. We did pick up the Grizzly. That was from the med bag. And we can see this time a hell of a lot more keys. So we got 8 keys in this run compared to just 3 in the last 2 runs combined. Nothing over the top, but just decent. Right, let's get out of the doldrums. Let's look at the top 3 runs now. Run number 4, here we go. So instantly, we've got a hell of a lot more stuff here, and that's because of the rigs. So you can see, I obviously managed to pick up 3 rigs here, including the belt combo rig. That really will have extended the amount of loot that I can bring out of the raid. We also managed to pick up the hand drill and the fuel on top of having those rigs in there, along with the condensed milk, the sugar, that sells well. Loads of bolts and nuts sell really well. The cyclone sells nicely to therapist. In total, 5 keys in there, including the East 213 key. Run number 3 now, 451,000 rubles. Again, we picked up a nice fuel can, fuel conditioner, vase, pressure gauge, skull, teapot, sugar. Just 1 key, but most of the value was made up in those rare items. Finally, over to the very best run that I did on this route. Run number 10, 611,000 rubles. And I think the star of the show is the AVS. A level 4 armored rig sells for a decent amount. We've also got the ophthalmoscope, which is not to be underestimated. A lot of people struggle to find those ophthalmoscopes. We got one on this loot run. I think it was really lucky. You shouldn't expect an ophthalmoscope on this loot run, really. In terms of the keys, we got 6 keys, factory key, and 2 health resort keys, the West 112 and West 323 keys. So all in all, 611,000 for this run. Just before I talk about the average per run, I just want to show you all of the keys that we got across the 10 runs. We got 2 factory exit keys, we got the dorms marked key, we got quite a few health resort keys, we got the RB KSM reserve key, and then a fair few dorm keys, but most of the other keys weren't really, you know, over the top too special. The pharmacy key actually for interchange isn't too bad. In total, 711,000 rubles worth in keys. That's across all 10 runs, so approximately 70k in keys per run, and all of the values are still based on trader sale values. So like the dormed marked key sells on the flea way more than it does to traders. So 35 keys in total. Like I say, early wipe. This loot run can be really useful for gathering those keys. If you go and do this loot run before you need to go to dorms, look how many dorms keys we got out of there. Perfect. Let's talk about totals and averages. On this loot run, we got an average of 387,000 rubles per run, close to that 400,000 mark. It took an average of 26 minutes per run. That's 15,000 rubles per minute. In terms of average per slot, I talked about this in the intro. I'm now going to be looking at average per slot over every loot run. This should give us a better metric to compare the loot runs across, you know, different maps and different areas. So average rubles per slot on this village loot money run was 6,461 rubles per slot. If we compare that to the Shoreline Hidden Stash run, the Shoreline Hidden Stash run was just 4,000 rubles per slot, and the Woods Hidden Stash run was 5,800 rubles per slot. So this actually comes out bang for buck, rubles per slot, as more effective than the Hidden Stash runs. But you've got to consider what that means, or why that is. I think the reason is because on Shoreline and Woods in the Hidden Stash runs that we do, you are more likely to pick out a lot of bigger items, so especially things like armors. If you pull out a level 6 armor, like a Zook 6 armor, it's going to come out at something like 22,000 per slot. Whereas if you pick up a dry fuel, that's 26,000 per slot. Actually more effective to just pick up a dry fuel than it is to pick up the Zook 6A armor if you're looking at value of rubles per slot, which is what this metric is looking at. But obviously you're never going to turn down that level 6 armor. But where it does come into play is really when we're talking about like level 4 armors, something like the Thor armor, which I found quite a lot in the hidden stashers. That sells at something like 50k, let's say, on the flea market. It's a lot lower to sales to traders, but I don't know the value. And you're only talking about 5,000 rubles per slot for that armor. If you are picking up those armors in the hidden stashers, which generally you are because you're more likely to get them, it's bringing down the average rubles per slot on those hidden stash runs. So I think that's why the village loot run comes out ahead in terms of rubles per slot than the Shoreline or Woods hidden stash run. But if you're just focused on the amount of cash you can get per slot, then this village loot run is actually the better run for you, which is kind of surprising. And this is why I'm doing this kind of work, because it's interesting, and hopefully you find it interesting too. If you do, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, post a comment down below. Let's get the algorithm going. So yeah, what I would say is there's a place for different runs. This village loot run is definitely more advantageous early wipe when you're looking for keys, and also when you're looking for stuff for your hideout. Whereas the hidden stash runs, the Shoreline and Woods and other maps, they can give you more useful items that you can use in future loot runs. You can pick up level 6 armors, you can pick up lots of helmets, you can pick up lots of weapons out of those hidden stashes that you aren't going to pick up on this run, and those things can be used for future loot runs. So that's kind of how you can look at the differences, the advantages and disadvantages of both runs. For me, I love stash running, so I'm never going to give up hidden stash running. I just find it cool to go to a stash. You don't know what's going to be in it. It could be anything apart from keys. I think keys are the only thing that don't go in hidden stashes, so it could literally be anything, and that's part of the beauty of doing those hidden stash runs. Right, let's move on. Just before we end the video, there's kind of a long segment here, so it's not quite just before, but I'm going to show you the route that we take on this village loot run. It is the most efficient route to loot the village, so you can follow this step by step in real time. I'll speed up a little sections, but it is quite a long part of the video because this is quite a long loot run. In future, on other videos, this will be a much smaller segment. Hopefully this works for you. Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks very much for watching. If you don't want to see this village loot run, then fair enough, but it's there for the people that do want to follow the route. The village is just down here. I don't want to make this portion of the video too long. Hopefully it's going to work out. Here we go. Okay, into the village through the east entrance. We're not going to enter the house to start off with. We're going to head to the cabin. First place to loot, the med bag here. We've also got the jacket on the hanger as well. Back out the cabin and now into the house. Duffel bag down here. Duffel bag just here. And then we're going to go up the stairs. Duffel bag just here by the bed as well. Back down the stairs. Jacket, jacket. Out the door. Check for a key just there. Through to the next place. We're going to immediately go in the house and straight upstairs. Duffel bag by the bed. Back downstairs and out the house. Into the shed. We've got 3 things here. Wooden crate right at the end. Duffel bag down here. And toolbox just on the table. Back out the shed. Open the gate door. Check your exits. Across. Through the gap in the fence. Into the greenhouse. And to the weapon box. Back out and straight into the house. You've got a jacket just behind the door. Jacket just to the left. Duffel bag down here. 2 jackets, 1, 2, just there. That's it for this house. Okay, cross the road. Obviously I'm doing this very quick. Make sure you check in for your angles, making sure there's nobody there as you cross the road. Next duffel bag in the red shed. Once you've done that, exit the shed into the wooden shed. Toolbox, wooden crate, should I say. Exit, turn right, right again. First hidden stash. Inside the house, single jacket. Exit the house. Through to the shed. We've got 2 more jackets here. 1, 2. Exit the shed around the back. Be careful for the optics that are on you at this point. Over here, and just inside, you've got a toolbox. Outside, follow this route around the very back of the village. And just in here, we have another wooden crate. Back out and into the house. 1, 2 jackets. Open the door. We have a duffel bag just here. Exit the house. And around the back. In here we have a jacket. And then we're going to go through the glass house. Across the rubbish pile. Over the tyre, next hidden stash. Opposite side of the road. Into the concrete pillar, next hidden stash. Okay, up to the top of the road, watch out for scavs. Inside the shop, look out for loose loot. You can see some on the shelves. We've got a Register here, cash register. Or loose loot. Weapons box, don't miss that one. Lots of loose loot all the way around here. I'm going to exit through this back door. And then across the road into the next shop. 2 cash registers. We've got a toolbox just here. Look out for the loose loot again. And then we're going to exit out the back here. Straight across into this cabin. And we should have a wooden crate just here. Don't miss this one. It can give you some great items. Come out the wooden crate. Be careful. In this area, you're out in the open. Enter the garage. You've got a toolbox here. And look out for a key just in here. Okay, exit. Back the way you came. Through this area. Into this hut at the back. We have a wooden crate just down here. Follow the route around. Just in this shed, we have another wooden crate. As we exit, enter the house. Jacket here on the ladder. And I believe we've got, toolbox just here. And a duffel bag just here. I think that's it for this house. Yes, it is. Okay, across the way here we have another hidden stash just here. And then just hopping inside this shed, the jacket right here. Okay, we're going to exit. Follow the planks. Through the gap in the fence. There is an alleyway just here, but we won't take it. Follow the fence around. Watch out for the bushes. To the left inside here. I go around the back of the house to the left. Toolbox just up here on the pallets. And then we've got a jacket just here. And then we're going to enter the house. We've got a duffel bag just here. Toolbox just here. I don't think there's anything in this room, no. And then a jacket just here. Exit the house. Through the gate. Watch out for scavs. Further up the road, this is the scav exit, Spetley dead end. There is the final hidden stash just here. Okay, leave that. Through the gate with the red house. Look out for loose loot. There's loose loot items just on those barrels there. There's some more on the crate just there. And there's more loose loot in this shed right there. Go around the side of the house. Loot the duffel bag. No need to go inside. In the shed opposite, we've got a jacket just hanging up. Loose loot. Just check for loose loot everywhere. Always keep your eyes out. And then looks like I was mistaken here. I think there is some loose loot that spawns in there, but just a jacket in this cabin. Okay, across to the shed opposite. We've got a wooden crate. Be aware in this little compound, you can sometimes get spotted from the hill up there, so just be aware. We've also got a shortcut right here through to the next one you can take. And then it would be to run through to this house. Just before you do, I'm going to show you the long route. In fact, there's a shortcut back in case you're on the other side. You can go either on the pillars or you can jump over from the wooden pallets there. The long route is just through this way. And then we're going to go to the house. You can actually just cut down there. So in the house, we got 2 jackets, 1, 2. We've got some loose loot in a few different places, but the one thing to check is in this shelf here, because it is a tech spawn, a loose loot tech spawn, so you can get graphics card spawning in this drawer. Okay, once we've done that, back out the house. We're almost done. Out onto the street. We've got a wooden crate right here. We've got some loose loot spawns on the planks here, look. Into the cabin opposite. We got a toolbox. And then finally, if you really want to finish things off, you can just hop onto this bus. And then down here, I believe it's this, one of these two seats, there is a key spawn. But it isn't here this time. And you can hop off the bus and head down to the tunnel extract.